Hey there everyone, I'm Marco Alcubé, the host of Expat Experts podcast. This video is extracted out of a longer interview with Cepee, an American who is currently living in Spain, and it's helping other women above 30 years old to move abroad.
Somebody early on after that first year asked, have you ever thought about doing a retreat? One of our members asked us, and I was like, a retreat? Oh no. And luckily I had some friends who I had gone on one of their retreats. They do running trips around the world. And they reached out to me and let me know, said, hey, if you ever need to do a retreat, we can help you. And they did, at the time, were doing trips to Morocco. And so I thought, oh, that's great. Morocco's close to Spain. People want to go to Morocco. Sometimes women are afraid to go by themselves. Let's put this idea out there. Let's see if people want to go on a retreat with us. People who have never bought anything from us, who don't really know us. Let's see what they say. And we put the idea out there and it sold out. And so that was kind of the second validation that we had, like, oh, people, okay, they don't know us, they've never bought anything, and now they're giving us $2,500 to go to Morocco. So there's something here that they need, right? There's a need that's not being met that we can help with. And so it kind of grew from there to where we had the retreat. Then we started doing meetups. Then what else did we do? Then during the pandemic, I wrote a book. I wrote a visa guide to living in Europe. So, what are the easiest ways to move to Europe? What are the visas? Because that was the question I kept getting. People wanted to move here, but didn't know how to figure out or solve that problem of the visa. So I did that, and that was a hit. That book actually is what got us in Forbes. We had our Forbes feature. So it just kind of snowballed from there, and just continually to listen to what the audience wanted. We did a podcast because they were asking for it. And yeah, just kind of following their lead and refining things until where we are right now, which is now, we don't do the retreats anymore. We don't do a lot of in-person, but we do a lot of virtual now. We have an online masterclass, which I'm launching in June. So that's right around the corner. And that's a 4-day online training to learn how to move abroad and understand where to start. And then we have a premium community from our Facebook group. So the Facebook group, we have, I think over 14,000 members there now. And so we've started a premium community that's much smaller, where we help guide you through every step of the move abroad process. So that's the Refreshers Lounge. So we started off, just a Facebook group, and we have expanded over the last 7 years to help our members out.
So it was more like a strategy of saying you had your content, some of your content for free in social media, YouTube, etc., where you offer some content in there, and then you have like a VIP lounge, let's say like this, like a more personalized approach and paid premium version. I don't know if calling it like this or...
I think that's right. I mean, for so long we did a lot of things. We just, gave information and content for free, right? Because I always had a full-time job. Like She Hit Refresh again was just a side. Well, first it was just a hobby, then it became a side project. But as we started building momentum, we did the free stuff for a very long time. Even though we had the retreats, it was still giving out a lot of information for free. But we just, realized maybe a year or two ago, very recently, that we could do so much more if we had some premium products, right? And so that's where that idea came into place. Again, listening to what people needed. They needed more than just going into a Facebook group and asking a question. They needed more direct information. They wanted to talk to experts. They wanted more in-depth resources, not just what the blog covered. And so we created kind of containers for them to access that information.
You always talk in plural in this. That means that there is... I mean, I know that you had like you're a partner, at least in the podcast. That's what I check. I mean, I've seen it's more like a collective project, or was kickstarted by yourself alone and then someone get into it, and how many people it's involved?
Yeah, I love That's so, yeah, I like that you mentioned that, because I didn't even remember, I didn't realize I'm saying we. Yes, so actually, the idea of the Facebook group started with me and a friend. I had the idea, I was like, let's start a Facebook group. And she said, okay, yeah, let's do it. And so, she helped me lift that off the ground. And then we started the blog together. But she's been located in Texas. So she's like my best friend, Annette. She helped me in the beginning. She came and, was at our first retreat and helped us. But she has a full-time job. She's very busy. And so Annette has been, more of my sounding board over the years as I kind of ran with She Hit Refresh, because everything was moving so fast and I was moving so fast with it, that I've kind of been, a one-woman show, I would say, for the past five-ish years. Yeah. But, still turn to Annette for advice, and especially so since she's still in the US and wants to move abroad. I mean, she's also such a great resource because she really is my target market there. Right.
Makes sense.
But although I talk in we, a lot of the things that you see, it's just me, one woman show with some of my freelancers that help me out with stuff.
Nice. What was it, the current target and the idea behind this? Always your main idea when you created the first group was already focused on women over 30 years old, or it why this focus? Like, I understand the focus on women, and I understand it, where it comes from, and the market target, it's there for sure. But why did you choose to specify, like, to go to the very specific target users?
Yeah, I think just because that's who I was, right? That's what I did. I moved at 35. And as I mentioned in the beginning, my network was asking me how I did it. And they were also, around my age bracket. And when I moved, there was not a lot of information for someone like me. There was a lot of information for doing a gap year, if you're in college or right after college. So somebody who is very young and doesn't have a lot of responsibilities and really can just pick up and go very easily and doesn't have to think about things like a mortgage or your career yet, right? And many other things. Or there was a lot of information for solo female travel of a certain age, but I wasn't traveling, I was trying to move. Or there was information for someone who was going to retire, which I wasn't in that bracket either. So
I see.
So I just realized too, when people were asking me for information of how do you do this when you have certain responsibilities that you have accrued over your life, right? If you're in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, when you have a career, how do you start over in a new country? Nobody was addressing that. And so that's another reason why I really honed in on this niche, is that those are the people who are coming to me. So those are the people that I want to try to help solve these problems.
Nice. I mean, it makes sense. Like, if you find a nice niche, that's incredible. Like, and sometimes that comes with making the target user smaller, no, and not trying to tackle all the problems for everyone, but what related with that, actually, because I saw a lot of content, and you don't limit yourself to talk about Spain or moving to Spain. You talk about other countries also, majority of them European countries, as far as I saw. How do you do that? Like, because at the end, a visa process from Spain, it's absolutely different from Italy or from France. And how do you gather all this information? How do you have people helping you in each country, or what's going on?
Yeah, that is a great question. So I would say, we mainly focus on Europe, although we do have, women in our community who are interested in going to Latin America or Asia. But I would say Europe is the main focus because that's what I know best, and that's where my network is, and I tap into that network. So definitely, I don't know about every detail of every visa, right? That's impossible for one person to know. But I would say at the end of the day, the visa process is pretty straightforward, or pretty similar, in each country. There are certain requirements that you have to meet. There's certain documents you have to get. There's a process you have to go through. And at the end of the day, that's very similar across the board, right? A work visa in Spain is very similar to a work visa in Poland, right? But to get down into those nitty-gritty details, I do rely on other people to fact check. I mean, I do a lot of research myself. when I wrote my visa guide to Europe, there's over 50 visas included in there. We cover 18 different countries.
If you liked this short video out of the full episode, you can find the link to it around here and in the description below. Of course, if you are also interested in checking out other episodes, please subscribe and like.